It is absolutely beautiful. We get very clear waters, storms of yellowtail scad. We're seeing more and more grey nurse sharks. Very, very beautiful sponge gardens. The eastern blue gropers, our resident population of dolphins. And in the wintertime, we have the visiting humpback whales. My biggest fear is 10 years down the track, all of the shallow reefs of Jervis Bay are covered in an invasive species of mussel. We are seeing these mussels in areas where divers have never observed them before. And by never, we're talking about 40 years of history. It seems highly coincidental that this has never happened before, but is now happening just a few years after commercial production of mussels has started happening in Jervis Bay. Jervis Bay is a marine park, and the areas where we're seeing mussel infestation include sanctuary zones, which are meant to be offered the highest level of ecosystem protection. We don't ultimately know how bad this problem will be, but we've certainly seen quite a large spread of these mussels in a relatively short period of time. And the risk is we now have permanent populations which themselves continue to spawn, and this problem gets worse. So in the worst case, we could see all the shallow reefs of Jervis Bay covered in mussels. The mussels, by definition, they're taking food out of the system. You know, they are eating. So that food is not available to other species, and that includes juvenile fish. So we don't fully know what the knock-on effects will be, but they're potentially pretty severe. You can't do anything in a marine park that is going to damage the integrity of the ecosystem or change the ecosystem from what it was when the marine park was put there. That's why the marine park was put there. Farming an invasive species within the marine park seems somewhat contradictory. It seems crazy. It certainly doesn't seem to pass the pub test. If I talk to someone and say, oh, they're farming an invasive species of mussels, which is recognised as being one of the most invasive species of anything on the planet, people go, they're what? So just because a species is present doesn't mean it's good to have more of it. It also doesn't mean that it's native, and it also doesn't mean that it's endemic. And if I try to think of an on-land example, it feels like going into the middle of a national park and seeing some rabbits and saying, oh, there's rabbits here. So therefore, we can farm rabbits here in the middle of the national park, and starting a rabbit farm. It just doesn't make any sense.